Hello, this hangout is live on air, folks. You're wearing an Auburn cap. Auburn fans may or may not be pleased come Saturday night. Anyway, tonight we have John, Anile, and myself. John is in Georgia. I'm in Louisiana. Normally doing Louisiana beer reviews, but occasionally getting off track and doing liquor and wine. We may have some other people joining us. We don't know. It's doubtful because this thing is so hard to find. What do we have tonight, John?
We have the Christian Brothers Sacred Bond Brandy.
Yes. And it was $24.99 in where I bought it. What about you?
I think it was actually a little bit more. I think it was $25 or $26.99 here. And I had to put in a request for it. It was not available initially, so pretty tough stuff to find, apparently.
Yeah, I've only seen it at one single store here. I'll say here, I mean 30 miles away. About 30 miles away. Maybe it's 28, but I think it's 30. Anyway, it doesn't matter. This was introduced in 2016. I know the trademark was acquired in 2015, but a lot of times they have to get all that stuff done before they roll it out, right? Hey, now Ron Dog Production says, hey, ha, ha, ha. I'm drinking twisted tea, laughing my America off. Okay, well, twisted tea, haven't had that in 1,000 years. All right. Well, you drank a little bit of this already, right, John and Neely?
That's correct. Yeah, I've had my bottle for quite some time now, and as you can see, I've gotten into it pretty good. But I actually shared a little bit with a friend of mine who wanted to try it, so it's not all my doing, but I have had quite a bit of it. So.
Now, you must have been pretty excited about that victory over Alabama.
Absolutely, yeah. I was a little shocked, but after we beat Georgia, I was hopeful. But it doesn't matter if we're playing in Auburn, Tuscaloosa. It always seems like Alabama just finds a way, but not this year.
But if you live in Georgia, why do you pull for Auburn?
Because I grew up in Alabama, and I went to Auburn for a year or two, so.
Oh, okay. Because I was a little confused. All right, now, it's aged for 4 years in bourbon barrels. Well, obviously, Heaven Hill bourbon barrels. You
were saying, I think last time we spoke, it's probably more than likely the Elijah Craig.
Well, could be that, or it could just be the Heaven Hill bourbon, because they make their own bourbon brand.
Right.
It's hard to say. They don't say. I'll read a little bit of the back. It's talking about how the Christian Brothers started in 1882. They produced wine, and I know they started making brandy in 1940, which they sold those things so that they could make money for their order. One of their long-term distiller masters was a man named Brother Theodore, but he retired in 1987. He died later. He was pretty old. It didn't look like anybody else wanted to take over the work. So they made a contract with Heaven Hill, and now Heaven Hill produces it for them. And they don't have to worry about all the overhead. Now, their old distillery facility in California, they rent out for like parties and whatnot, events, sort of like Paul Masson does out there with their old mansion in California. Okay, a few more things. Crafted from only the finest grape varietals. in small batch distilled in copper pot stills. And that's one of the claims to fame from for the Christian Brothers brandy, is that they use copper pot stills, whereas most brandy companies use column stills. They're saying full-bodied mouthfeel and rich aroma. Well, we found that out, didn't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
The final product is a noble spirit whose superb quality and sacred heritage are revealed in every sip. Now, they're talking about the Bottled and Bond Act of 1897. Produced from one distillation season, and I don't know if this is spring or fall, by one distiller, that's Heaven Hill, at one distillery, that's either Bardstown at Heaven Hill or Parlier, California. I guess Parlier, California is one of the old Christian Brothers sites. In American white oak bourbon barrels under U.S. government supervision and bottled at 100 proof. All bonded whiskey has to be exactly 100 proof. And brandy. And they were saying in the news press releases that this was the first bottled brandy. But I did some research and I found out that was not the case. Maybe it's the first bottled brandy that you might have ever heard of. But back in the early 80s, there was a bottled brandy called Hartley bottled brandy. And apparently you can order unopened bottles from 35 years ago. Now, my experience with Hartley brandy has been interesting. I have experienced an entire 375 milliliter bottle of Hartley VS and a 750 milliliter bottle of Hartley VSOP. I don't know what that Hartley bonded would taste like, but I'm probably never going to find out.
Yeah, I've seen the Hartley everywhere, but I've been kind of hesitant to try it after watching some of the videos that you've put out on it, especially the original Hartley brandy.
I don't think they have the VS anymore. Now you'll have to watch your echo because that crops up some time to time. But anyway, you've learned how to control that. I don't think they make the VS anymore. I know they make the VSOP, but then I've noticed around here they have Hartley brandy, just brandy. Doesn't say VS, doesn't say VSOP. It just says brandy. I don't know what that is. Okay, I don't know what that. I don't even understand that brand. It's bottled in Kentucky and apparently aged in Kentucky, but it says product of Italy. Now, I don't want to get into all of that, but that's very bizarre. Is there some big distillery in Italy that produces like massive quantities of cheap brandy? I would assume there is. Anyway, this is not that. This is something obviously better, although not necessarily more interesting or peculiar. But this is a strange one, and most people that are watching this probably cannot get it. But you could call Heaven Hill and ask them. You did it. You called. You got a bottle, right?
That's right. You'd be surprised what you can get if you just ask around. My theory is that because it's a newer product, I mean, it's obviously very good. I think it's going to catch on in the next couple of years, and stores are going to start stocking it. I think it's just one of those newer products. It's such a unique product because there are not a lot of bonded brandies out there. So I think and I hope that it catches on and the distribution increases over the next couple of years, because it really is an excellent product. So
it is weird though. They don't even talk about it on their website.
Right. But then again, they don't talk about a lot of brands on, a lot of the different liquor websites, which is really strange to me, especially some of the higher end stuff. You would never even knew it existed if you didn't see it in the store or somebody, didn't tell you about it.
It's bizarre.
Like Evan Williams has a lot of high end bourbon that is just not listed on the website. There's a red label that's out there that's not listed. There are a couple other ones as well, but I mean that goes for all brands, but it's really strange.
It is. Now I'm gonna read a few more. I'm gonna read a few more comments. Daryl East says, "Cheers, y'all. I'm having a little Livingston red rosé wine." Ah, okay. I bought a Livingston wine on Thanksgiving Day, and I'm going to bring that up in a few weeks because that was a really good deal. Then a Bud 1933 Repeal Reserve. Oh, good. Hooba D says, "Cheers, y'all," smiley face. Hey, Hooba D. Now, I wanted to say something else. Each Christian Brothers brandy has a different bottle design. The VS has that regular triangular thing, plus their flavored ones and the frost. Then the VSOP Grand Reserve has the other bottle shape. Then the Christian Brothers XO has a really strange kind of crooked rectangle bottle, which you can't find because nobody can get it. And then this has a regular old whiskey bottle shape, right? Bourbon bottle.
Right.
Well, you ready to roll with this?
Absolutely.
Let's go.
Yeah, that XO, I put in a request for that at the same store that I did for the Sacred Bond, so I'm wondering if they're going to be able to get it for me.
I asked around here, and they told me no dice. They said it was rated F or forget it. I said, oh, well, I'll try it. Because I'd have bought it, you know. I mean, if it had been available. Now, 100% says, where's William Kepley? You tell me. No one knows where Will E. Kepley is. He disappeared in August, and he's never been seen again. But he's existing, I think. I know he changed his name a little bit on YouTube, so that's telling me he's still around. He may be monitoring these events, but we don't know the answer to that. William, if you hear me, you got to contact us. Okay, John. What's a dark copper color? Deep copper, right?
Yeah, very deep copper, or amber, you might say. I don't know. But yeah, very, very deep color to it for sure.
100% said that's strange. Yeah, we all know that's strange. Radar says, cheers, fellas. I'm enjoying Kirkland eggnog. What? I never heard it. Oh, that's from Costco. With a half a cup of coffee, cold up here in Canada. I believe that. It's about 62 degrees here tonight, and the high tomorrow is going to be about 75. We'll read some more comments in a little bit, but we're going to go and examine this, and we'll get back to comments. We're not ignoring y'all, people. Okay. A lot of alcohol eggs.
Which, yeah, at 100 proof, you're gonna get some pretty good alcohol eggs going down the glass.
Golly gee, you're right. I drank that Wild Turkey 101. Woo! And I drank the Old Crow Bonded, which is no longer produced. And I drank the Old Granddad Bonded. I think the Old Granddad was the best. But I polished them all off. They were a little too much for me. Although I did drink them all. But anyway, you know. Just a little too rough for my weak constitution, let's say. You notice a little tea-like aroma when you first pop the bottle cap. It gets like a little tea, like, you know, like tea, Lipton tea. But then that fades.
Yeah, I do. I definitely go along with that. It's definitely a unique aroma. A lot different than any of the other brandies that we've tried so far, or that I've tried so far. You've had obviously quite a bit more experience with brandy than I have, but
yes. Uh-oh. There's the egret. All right, I'm I'm gonna let you talk a little bit because your echo's going on, and then I'll shut up and you talk about the aroma, and then I'll talk about the aroma.
So the aroma, get a little bit of alcohol in the nose up front, which I guess is to be expected at 100 proof. A lot of grape presence in the nose as well. Sweetness, like a fruity sweetness, but mostly, like I said with the other, with the Christian Brothers VSOP, it has that grape skin quality to it in the aroma. Very sweet for a bonded product. I mean, it's got a lot of sweetness in the nose, which a lot of the better brandies, I mean, obviously that's what you're going to get, other than maybe like some of the French brandies, you get a completely different aroma, but very pleasant on the nose. Definitely some caramel sweetness there as well. And some bourbon-like qualities as well from the aging 4 years in the bourbon barrels.
Yeah.
So definitely some oak in the nose as well.
I was going to mention that too. There is yeah, you can click the mute for a second. There is they have that charred oak. And now look, if you're watching this video and you're just a whiskey drinker, blended, rye, bourbon, whatever, Canadian, Scotch, Irish, this is a whole, and you've never had brandy, this is like a different thing, you know. There's similarities, but there's a lot of differences. So it's a spiciness that is hard to describe. It's almost like a cinnamon spice, but this is not like the Jack Daniel's, whatever that Red Hots thing or whatever, and the Fireball. This is not like that, but it's like a cinnamon spice, and there's, like he was talking about, grape skins, and you know, they don't use any kind of grain to make this. Okay, this is not using grain. They're using grapes to make wine, and then they take, it could be dozens, literally dozens of wine varieties. They distill them, and then they blend them. And this is coming in at 100 proof. This is no joke. But the aroma is pleasing. It does have some tannic, and that's got to be coming from the skins, tea-like quality. But I'm ready to go into the taste. So John, you can lead us off on the taste.
All right. Up front, get a lot of sweetness, some oak, a little vanilla as well, I guess, from the oak. A lot of grape skin, like sweetness, followed immediately by a pretty good alcohol punch, but in the best possible way. I mean, it's not offensive. And it is very mellow, very smooth for 100 proof product. I've had a lot of 100+ proof items that were not anywhere near as smooth as this. Even harsh, you might say. This is definitely not a harsh product, in my opinion. But very, very pleasing, easy drinking for the most part. If you've never had a bottled and bond bourbon or brandy, I mean, this might throw you off at first, but if you're used to drinking products like this, or if you've had other higher proof alcohol products, this is excellent. No complaints on my end. As a matter of fact, it is my favorite brandy. The Christian Brothers VSOP is also very good, but there's just something about this product. It's just so special, so unique. I mean, $22 to $26.99 a bottle. The value that you get with this product is absolutely incredible. and I would definitely recommend this to anybody. The few people that I've let try this so far absolutely loved it, said they've never had anything like it, and I mean, I just think it's dynamite. Can't go wrong with it.
Okay, I'm going to talk a minute. Look, everything higher proof does not mean better. I had the Elijah Craig barrel proof. That was like dragging my teeth across a chalkboard. And I watched somebody do a video review for like 20 minutes, and he was talking, you know, and I could tell he didn't like it. I said, that stuff was too harsh and unpleasant for me. He said, yeah, I kind of see that. I mean, big whoop, it was 124 proof or whatever it was, but it was just, and I mean, the regular Elijah Craig is fine for me. Now, I know this other guy, he bought the bottle of that Elijah Craig barrel proof, and he was bragging on it. He loved it, you know. All right, but to me, I hated it. All right, now, okay, so like I tell people that comment on my videos, I say, you got to call them as you see them. They'll like say, I'm sorry, but I don't like this. I said, why do you say you're sorry? I mean, you don't like it. Okay, now back to this. It's so spicy. I'm telling you, people, I don't know how to get the spice in this. It does not have added flavoring, okay? To my knowledge. You heard what I said? To my knowledge. And if you know anything about brandy, there's a reason I'm throwing that qualifying statement in there. We're not talking about bourbon over here. All right. There's the dried flowers and the dried fruit. Well, you get that with whiskey too, but this has more of the dried fruitcake fruit. Now, some people are going to say, oh, fruitcake, I don't like that stuff. I don't know how many people actually eat fruitcake and claim they don't like it. It has
that spicy note that you're talking about. I definitely pick up on that as well. It has a lot of punch. I think I said, you know, that alcohol punch, but it is a spicy, a very spicy finish.
Yeah, and it has a strong beeswax and a honeycomb flavor. A lot of honeycomb and beeswax. Now, I mean, that sounds bizarre, but I'm telling you, even some whiskeys have that. I'm telling you, it's got that. It's intricate. I mean, yeah, you could probably make all kind of mixed drinks with it. You could look that up on the internet, mixed drinks to make with brandy, and there would be 1,000. This would be good as a sipper, though, because if you're going to make mixed drinks, why not just go buy Christian Brothers VS or save $2 and buy Paul Masson VS, which is $9.99 at Walmart, $9.97 at Walmart. Not to downgrade it, because I'm a fan of it. I remember about 4 years ago, I bought Albertson's brandy. It was a closeout because they redid their lineup. And it was,
is that a Trader Joe's brand or?
Albertsons is Safeway. Albertsons,
okay,
big grocery store chain, and it was $4.99 for a 750 milliliter bottle. Wow. It was actually not bad. You would think, oh, this is going to be the worst, but actually it wasn't bad. My daughter even liked. We did a video together. She said, this is not bad. Okay, back to this. The lead flavor, okay, is the spice. Variety is the spice of life, and Sacred Bond brandy is the spice of brandy. I don't know, but it's just spicy. It's not bitter or harsh or unpleasant. It's pretty smooth. I would advise people be very careful with this stuff. I poured too much, and I would never dream of drinking more than this, 3 or 4 ounces. Just do not do it. Final thought, would I drink it again? Would I drink it again? I got 75% of the bottle left. Now, my friend David, you might know him with the big beard, kind of big guy. he bought a bottle because he was looking for it. You know, he called me on the phone. I found it. I said to him, I told you could find it at Dorgnex. So I was at his house and we tasted it and did a video. And then about 2 weeks later, I said, you want to drink some more of that stuff? He said, oh, that's been gone. But that's what I mean. It's so good that you just want to drink more and more of it. But it's so dangerous that
you could get into a lot of trouble with this. I could definitely see people over imbibing with the Sacred Bond for sure.
don't do it. Now, you could make some really good food items like bananas Foster with this. Okay. That's what comes to mind, bananas Foster. Anyway, I would highly recommend it, and I would buy it again. I mean, I won't buy it again because I don't think I'm going to live 1,000 years. But in theory, I would buy it again. What about you? What are your final comments? Then we'll read the comments.
Absolutely, I would buy it again. As a matter of fact, because this product was special ordered for me and they got a few bottles in, I will probably go purchase another bottle when I get through with this one just to have, because it's such a unique product. When people see it, they always ask about it. I mean, it's not something that you're going to see every day, and I think it is excellent. I think if you're a bourbon lover and you've gotten into some of the bonded bourbons, I think that I think that you would really enjoy this, and I would highly recommend it to anybody. It's definitely worth a shot, even if you don't like it. It's very different from other products, so I highly recommend it. I would give it an A+ rating, and I am definitely enjoying my bottle. So.
Oh yeah, no joke. And one thing I want to talk about is it's got a lot of sugary sweetness. You know, people love to drink sweet drinks. They love sweet everything. You don't have to add any sweetness to this. You do not need to mix this with sugary stuff. It is already so sweet.
Right. You said that initially the spiciness was the first thing that kind of stood out to you. In my opinion, the sweetness is probably the most upfront thing, followed by immediate spiciness in the finish. But I mean, it's excellent.
Oh, it is like drinking alcohol candy.
Absolutely.
Now, let's look at some comments, then we'll talk about what's coming up. Okay. You might want to mute it because it's echoing. I don't know why you have that problem, but
I don't know.
What can we do? Radar says it's hard to beat the captain. I don't know who the captain is. Jason says, preach it. Preach it. I just came across someone who said he won't buy whiskey that's 40% alcohol. Oh, okay. Guess he doesn't have too many brands to pick from. Because if you go to a liquor store, what percentage of whiskey is 40% alcohol? Like 90% of them? But I mean, that's fine. It's his money. I'm just saying. Isn't that kind of like the mainframe for liquor? 40%, 80 proof? Okay. 100% says laughing out loud and dragging my teeth across a chalkboard. I'm telling you, that's what Elijah Craig Barrel Proof felt like to me. And I used to like to do that, like when the students would be loud at the beginning of class. I say, I'm going to get them. We had the old chalkboards. They were green, though, not black. And I would just take my fingernail from the top of the chalkboard to the bottom, and I would scratch it all the way down slow. That would get their attention. And I'd say, you want me to do it again? Oh, no, that's all right. All right. Ronald, I think you would love Klein Nellish 14, says Jason. I might love it. I don't know what it is. Matthew says, mix it with Sprite. Try it at least once. Come on. No, I don't like soft drinks. I don't like Sprite, Coke, Dr. Pepper. I used to love all that stuff. Then I realized that it was making me die fast. And I don't like it anymore. John Del Luca says, you're sweet. Thanks. but I'm not as sweet as this liquor. Matthew Emmanuel says, I don't think I can handle the sweetness. But you got to understand, it's a different type of sweetness. It's not like some cheap, junky sugar or corn syrup. It's a different type of sweetness. And I think John and Neely will agree. You can't hardly describe it.
Right. Now, the Christian Brothers VSOP we were talking about was a little bit more liqueur-like. This one, not so much. I mean, it does have a lot of sweetness, but I don't think it's, you know, very liqueur-like, probably because of the higher alcohol and the spiciness that you get with this one. But it is very sweet for sure.
I don't know. You said liqueur now, and it made me think of amaretto. It does have some almond flavor. Just saying. All right.
The VSOP, though, was much more liqueur-like. But, I mean, I could see why some people would say that, but this one is a lot different than the VSOP. So,
okay. Jason Voorhees says, you must have been a cat in your past life. I don't know about that. Matthew says, oh, okay, fair enough. Jason Voorhees says, it is pronounced more like Kleinleash. Okay, and you mentioned beeswax and honey. And two of the notes it's best known for: Highland single malt Scotch, 40% ABV. Ah, you see? Beeswax and honey. 100% says John and Eli loves vodka. You know that? I don't know that. Whether he loves vodka, he could answer to that effect.
Never really drank vodka, honestly.
Okay, so
there's not really a lot going on with that. I mean, if you're looking for complex flavor, you wouldn't really go for vodka, I don't think, or I wouldn't.
I've had a few vodkas in my life, like Taka and Crown Rus and K&B, Katz and Bestoff vodka. So I've had Taka, Crown Rus, and Katz and Bestoff vodka. I wasn't too impressed. They all come from, they're all Sazerac brands, but anyway, I mean, I'm not anti-vodka. I'm not an anti-vodka-ite. I'm just saying that's not my game, but other people are into it. I know some people that are major league vodka drinkers, like, and that's all they talk about. Well, that's fine, 100% says you're a liar. Okay, all right, whatever. We don't care. Guess what? We don't care.
I believe vodka is the most commonly mixed spirit, though, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, I mean it's so amenable to mixing with everything in the world, Radar says amaretto is very smooth. I hear that. I've never had it. Jason says vodka was my first love, and he's blushing. He says, Ronald, do you know if leaving Boddington's Pub Ale left out will kill carbonation? I don't know that, but I would assume it. He said, one exploded when I opened it and was rather flat. I don't know anything about that. That sounds weird. I would contact Anheuser-Busch InBev, and maybe they could help you with that, because I've never had a bad experience with Boddington's in my life. 100% says the funniest review is the one I like of yours, Ronald, is Earthquake. Yeah, it's funny to you because you're watching it. It wasn't funny to experience it, though. No, that was so troubling. And I can still remember the vomiting. I mean, it was just like, how does a beer make you sick hours later? Well, hey, wait a minute, though. That Weltenberger Bayrock Dunkel made me sick about 12 hours later. It's like your body will not digest it if it's rotted. And Earthquake is an atrocity of mankind. I could make a 12-hour video on Earthquake and just talk about it, and it would be 12 hours of only ranting about it, and that's no joke. But I don't want to do that. But it's beyond belief.
The 12%, I'll agree. The 10% ice cold, it's drinkable. It's actually very popular here. It's in the cooler doors everywhere at, I would say, probably 90% of gas stations around here. in the 24-ounce cans.
Yeah, same thing here, but I won't do it. It's the 12% is a nightmare.
We only get the 10% here.
The 10% is I don't want to talk about it. I'll start crying on air. I don't want to talk about it. The 8%, you can actually, in some ways, you could drink the 8%. Matthew Emmanuel says, I enjoy Hennessy, so what would be really good and much cheaper in price as a contender? I assume you're talking about Hennessy VS. Really good and much cheaper in price as a contender.
Well, you can get a VSOP that's a lot cheaper. The Paul Masson or the Christian Brothers are probably, well, I don't know about the Christian Brothers, but the Paul Masson VSOP was, I think, $12.99 for 750 mil.
Right. Like, why pay $35 for Hennessy VS when you could go right to Walmart and get Paul Masson VSOP or E&J VSOP for about let's say $14. I think it can go toe to toe with Hennessy, but you know, I've never done a blind taste test, but you know, Hennessy is kind of like Jack Daniels. You're buying a name. You're buying a name. Now, although I gotta say that Hennessy Privilege and that Hennessy Black is no joke. That's nice. 100% says Ronald's face was in pain. Then he said, oddly, it has character. It did have character. I never said that Earthquake 12% didn't have character, but it was sort of like Hannibal Lecter in Manhunter. He had character, but it was just bad character. It was evil. I mean, it was character, but it was everything about the character was evil, was bad. Matthew says cognac and brandy are similar, except where it's made. Correct? Yeah, that's right. Yep, cognac is a type of brandy, just like bourbon is a type of whiskey.
Cognac is actually a French term. Is that correct?
It's a region of France. It would be like calling it would be like if you made whiskey and you called it Piedmont whiskey or Okefenokee whiskey or Appalachia whiskey, right? Does that make sense?
Right, yeah.
So
it's an actual region in France that it's named after, the cognac.
It has to come from that region of France. And there's some stipulations how it has to be made, blah, blah, blah. But honestly, there are cognacs that are as cheap as any other liquor you ever wanted to buy. You know, it's just, it's kind of like bourbon, you know, it's a marketing term. But I mean, it's a real term. I'm not saying it's fake or anything, but I think cognac can be overplayed. There's some darn good American brandies that are probably half the price that probably are just as good, really. But we're going to wrap this up because there's some college basketball and NBA basketball I'd like to watch. I know the games are just tipping off right now. Minnesota at New Orleans in the professional league, and Alcorn State at Tulane in the college ranks, Division I. So I'd like to see those. You want me to preview what's coming up?
Yeah, we've got some interesting stuff coming up, especially after the information that I got from you about one of the upcoming examinations.
To say that I was
our next one, actually.
Yeah, to say that I was stunned would be an understatement. Okay, so this is it for Brandy. Now, let's see, it's 2017. So check back with us in 2027. Let's say 2027, and we'll probably be getting into some more Brandy. 10 short years. Now, December 1st, which is next. December 1st. December 6th, which is just next Wednesday. We're looking at Seagram's VO. Hey, you know what? This is from Canada. It's been on the market for over 100 years. This will anger many people and will amuse many people and will satisfy many people. Depends on your perspective, but it's sold in pretty much every liquor store on earth, I would assume. Maybe not in Pyongyang, but
except in certain area regions in Canada, right? Weren't you telling me?
Yeah, right. It's made in Canada, and then our friend Michael Jennings said, "Oh, I can't get that in Canada." I said, "That makes sense." It doesn't really make sense. 100% says you're a Pelicans fan, Ron. A fan? I don't know about a fan. I watch them. They're here. I've been to games every year since they started in 2002. So I keep up with what's happening, let's call it. Now, so the Seagram's VO, you know, if we get 100 people watching this Christian Brothers Sacred Bond, you might get 1,000 people watching Seagram's VO. That's how popular it is. I mean, we're talking about one of the mainline products on the planet. You hear what I'm saying? Right?
Oh yeah, it's everywhere.
Now, we had some kind of disappointment with the Canadian Club, right?
The Canadian Mist, right? Not
I mean, Canadian Mist.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, I drank 100 proof brandy. Excuse me. Canadian Club was dynamite. We were bragging on that, although we got in an argument about the aging, which was not our fault. But the Canadian Mist was actually literally our biggest disappointment so far, I believe.
That's definitely the most disappointing product that I've had since I've been doing. Actually, that was the first examination that I did with you guys. So, and that was and the biggest disappointment as well. It was just such a letdown because I had already had the Canadian Club, and that was just so great. And then you go from that to the Canadian Mist, and it's just I was like, man, if the rest of the stuff tastes like this, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this for much longer. Thank goodness that's not the case. But
yeah, if you're gonna get Canadian Mist, just shop price. I mean, literally get what is ever the cheapest whiskey you can find on the shelf. And I don't care what it is, because it's not going to taste bad. You're just going to complain that it has no flavor. That's fine. That's what Canadian Mist is. You look at all their advertisements over the last 50 years. Interestingly, they don't claim to have any flavor. They just claim that it's a product.
right. But even price, you know, Rich and Rare, the what else? Canadian Club's cheap too. It's
yeah, it's only $7.98 at Walmart.
Right. So why would you go with Canadian Mist if you can get Canadian Club, Rich and Rare, Seagram 7, VO? They're all pretty much dirt cheap in most areas. So
right. So Canadian Club just bombed out, just like Shiner Bock bombed out. And I can't say wine because nobody ever wanted to do wine examinations with me except Jean-Pierre, and he only did that once or twice. 100% says, does John Emile have a channel? No, unfortunately, he does not.
Maybe one day.
You know, having a channel is it bothers some people because they say, "Oh, I'll get a bunch of negative comments." You're gonna get that. So that's the thing that really bothers people, because you got these people that cruise around looking for trouble. So, and
yeah,
it
fortunately, I don't get bothered by petty stuff.
Right. So it could work. It could work for you because a lot of people, they just would get angry about it, you know, and their channel wouldn't last. But anyway, okay. Bart Robinson says Crown Royal examination, sipping one right now. Crown Royal Apple is awesome, says 8675309. 100% says screw haters. You know, I mean, it's the internet. You know, that's what people do to make their life happy. They cruise around looking to troll people's channel. That's basically the highlight of their day. But which is a sad commentary, I might add. I should have started with Crown Royal, but that's a rabbit hole because there's like 1,000 Crown Royal brands. You could make a video channel dedicated only to Crown Royal. So I know some people that live in St. James Parish in Louisiana, they only buy Crown Royal products. And they've got an entire room full of Crown. It's like, where does this stop? It's unbelievable. It's absolutely unbelievable what they have. Matthew says, I love Crown Royal apple. So easy to drink straight and chilled. Yeah, you see what I mean? Like, if we start getting caught up in that, it won't be called Louisiana Beer Reviews, or it'll just be called Crown Royal all the time. You know what I mean? Like, salted caramel, it's great by itself. Okay, now in January, we're going to wait till January. I know John doesn't want to wait. I don't want to wait till tomorrow, but till January, you know what's coming here.
This is the one that shocked me when I heard the news. Especially, I mean, it's been around. How long has it been around? For
19 years.
Oh, I thought it was older than that.
No, the VO's been around for over 100 years. Well, what happened was they came out 19 years ago. They came out with Seagram's VO Gold. And the master blender is Arthur Peterson. And they go on and on about Arthur Peterson on the bottle. And they got all this long text about how they blend it. And then they talk more and more about how they blend it. And they give you all these complex tasting notes. And they talk about how awesome it is. And it's aged for 8 years. And it's like the biggest deal ever. Okay. That's fine. They give you a website. I looked up the website. Okay. Wonderful website, by the way. I go to the Seagram's VO section, the Seagram 7. All kind of stuff listed. I said, wow, it's fascinating. They got intricate tasting notes on each product. And then recipes you can make with it. And food pairings. It's just so detailed. I said, wow, this is really fascinating. I'm going to spend all morning looking at this website. But I started noticing, where's the VO Gold, right? So I'm scrolling down, VO Gold, VO Gold, VO Gold, nothing, nothing, nothing. I said, well, hell, I'm going to go drive around and see who sells it. Nobody, except Mathern's and Winn-Dixie. And there's hardly any bottles left. I said, something's up. I don't like this. So I sent an email to the company. They send me a response within a day. They said, well, guess what? It's been discontinued. We are sorry to report. And we have no plans to resume productions, what they said. So I said, wow, I'm glad I bought it, because when it's gone, it's gone. Now, have you tried it?
I did open the bottle, and I have tried a little bit. I think I left you a comment on one of your videos about it. Like, it's surprising a little bit that it's being discontinued. But after tasting it, I can see why, because I won't go too much into it, but I don't think it's that much different than the regular VO or the 7 Crowns. So for 8 years aging, you would expect there to be a pretty significant difference there. So,
oh, John. But I gotta do a blind taste test. You know what my theory is about all this?
What's that?
There are so many bourbon barrels being used to age beer now that I think a lot of the companies are not wanting to tie up their barrels in long-term aging, like 12 years, 8 years. And a lot of companies are getting away from their age statements, like the Elijah Craig barrel proof. It used to have an age statement thing. So they want to rent. They make a lot of money renting out those barrels. You know, they like rent them out to age beer in them. So it's like, why rent out? Why use a barrel for 8 years to sell Seagram's VO, which is not a big seller, right?
Right.
When you could
the VO Gold, yeah, the VO Gold.
Yeah, and you could rent out the barrel to one of these craft beer companies and make some good money, right?
Right. I don't think a lot of people were buying it because it is higher priced, and I would say maybe 75% of people that are drinking Canadian or blended whiskeys are using it as a mixer, so they would just probably gravitate towards the cheaper stuff. But I mean, who knows, really?
Yeah. The manager at Mathern's told me today, he said, nope. He said, we hardly ever sell that stuff. He said, I can't think of the last time it was ever sold. And I was thinking to myself, I can think of it. It was me yesterday. But I am fascinated to try it because you piqued my interest. You know, you got me even more interested in it, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, all right, it was $22.99. I bought it. All right, fine, I bought it. And then I bought another bottle for David to give to him for present. If it's dull, oh well, I threw away $25, but we'll see. We'll see. Seagram's VO, I threw away. Oh, I got that great Diageo rebate. Remember the $7 rebate?
I got my check in the mail actually last week. So
to close this out, you would agree with me. People, if you ever see a little tag on a bottle that says send in this rebate, do it.
yeah, absolutely. They're banking on you not doing it, so do it and get your money back.
Because people buy it and they say they're going to do the rebate and they never sit down to fill out the form and they never send it in. So they probably don't lose hardly any money on it. Okay, last comments. Bart Robinson says, I drank only the original Crown Royal or the Reserve, which is expensive but excellent, and I love that VO Gold also. Oh, you've had it. Oh, this is getting even more intriguing. 100% says, in my opinion, they should sponsor you, Ron. I bought stuff because of your good palate. Yes, I'm waiting for those checks, but oddly, I've never received a single one. 8675309 says, I'll have to check out that Reserve, Bart. I like the original too. I'm sure the Reserve is great. Oh, yeah. Now, 8675309 says, my favorite blended whiskey would be Johnny Walker Gold Label. Ooh.
Ooh.
He said, I bought a bottle of that for my birthday a few years ago, and it was excellent. 100% says, William Kepley, come back, bro. The whole world's saying that, 100%. William Kepley has no channel, and there's like 100,000 people waiting for him to come back on a channel he doesn't have. We all want William Kepley to come back. I mean, we don't know.
He had a lot of really good ideas. He came up with a lot of those concepts for a lot of the past hangouts. So yeah, we miss you, William. If you're out there, come back.
I know he had all these ideas. It was incredible. Bart Robinson says, I'm pretty sure you would like the Reserve if you drink the regular Crown Royal. He's talking to 8675309. I've never had Crown Royal except a little bit after bingo one night, but it was really good. I had to admit, Crown Royal was really. Matthew says Gentleman Jack is good. Yeah, that's an interesting product too. But I don't want to get into that. Adam Kennedy says, love you, Ron. Tuning in to the best beer reviewer every day. Well, I never said I was the best. I just said I was honest. I didn't even say I was good. Okay. Well, any last words, John from Georgia and formerly of Alabama?
Well, I would just say anybody out there that is interested in an excellent brandy, you can't go wrong with the Christian Brothers Sacred Bond. It's such a unique product because it is, to my knowledge, the only bonded brandy out there now. I mean, there might have been others in the past, but this one is very different from your standard brandy. It's got a lot more character. It's got a lot of similar characteristics to bourbon as well because of the way that it's aged, and I highly recommend it. It's excellent.
I totally agree. And so join us in 1 week for this. And if you can't, now, if you tell me you can't join us because you couldn't find it, you lie. Just tell me.
Or you might be in Canada.
Or you might be in Canada because Michael Jennings tried to find it, and he comes to find out he can't buy it. Now, it's made in Canada, but, you know, Canadians can't buy it. You know, makes a lot of sense. Okay. And then in a month, we got the VO Gold, which will really be the end. I mean, that's really the end of that, right?
We'll give it a good send-off.
Give it a good send-off, even though you previewed it. Oh, one more thing. I keep saying one more thing. For the next 10 hours, people, I'm going to... No. We really are getting off. One more thing. I bought a bourbon about a year ago, maybe longer. And I opened it yesterday, and I did a review. And I'm going to post it Friday, not tomorrow, but Friday. And then I'm going to start doing taste challenges with it. And you know what it's called?
What did you get?
10 High.
Ah, okay.
And it cost me $9.99.
I have not yet seen that one, but I know it's a very popular brand. So
10 High is coming into play, and it's been on the market since 1935. Oh boy, I can't wait to do those taste challenges, especially considering the shocking experience I had with 10 High yesterday. And that's a tease, but it's the truth.
It'll be interesting to see the Kentucky Tavern versus 10 High, which I know it's got to be coming up soon, right?
We'll get ready for tomorrow. Tomorrow is like a closeout. It's Kentucky Tavern versus Early Times. I mean, there's no hope for that. That's going to be like Penn State versus Florida International. You know, I mean, you know where that's going to go. Or Penn State versus Georgia State. Let's
yeah, there you go.
I mean, it'll be a game, but it ain't gonna be close. All right, well, anyway, all right, all right. Thanks, folks, for watching this video production.